Alright mates, how's it going? In today's video, it's episode 15 of Lord of the Clans by Christie Golden. So let's go! Thrall's face immediately dropped as he realised he'd just insulted and punched a legend.
Most noble Doomhammer, I ask your forgiveness. I didn't know. My teacher might have warned me.
Again, Doomhammer just laughed.
That would have spoiled everything. I wanted to pick a fight. See if you indeed had the passion and pride of which Hellscream spoke so glowingly. I got more than I bargained for. I got beaten.
Doomhammer's whole demeanour suggested that this was the funniest thing that had ever happened to him, which in turn caused Thrall to relax somewhat.
Come, Thrall. Sit with me. We'll finish our meal and you'll tell me your story. And I'll tell you tales of your father you've never heard.
And so, the scene reset, with everyone sitting back down in the positions they'd been prior to the fight. Drakthar confessed that he had indeed known who this stranger was all along. He'd sent Wise-Ear out to fetch the bloke. The Orcs then enjoyed a large feast, as well as a bit of song and dance, and Thrall told Doomhammer his story.
This Blackmore, he sounds like Gul'dan, one who does not have the best interests of his people in his heart, only his own profit and pleasure.
I wasn't the only one to experience his cruelty. He hates orcs, but he has no love for his own people either.
And there's Taretha and Sergeant. I didn't know humans were capable of kindness and honour.
I wouldn't know honour or mercy had it not been for Sergeant.
It's been my experience that the males hate our people. The females and children fear us. Yet this girl child befriended you of her own will.
Taretha has a good heart. I can give her no higher compliment than to say I'd be proud to admit her into my clan. She has an orc spirit.
Doomhammer then fell silent for a moment.
I've kept to myself for many years, since our defeat. I know what they say about me. I'm a hermit, a coward, afraid to show my face. Do you know why I've scorned the company of others for so long, Thrall?
Thrall did not know, so he just shook his head.
I needed to be by myself, to think, to remind myself who I was, who we all were, as a people. From time to time I'd do as I've done this night, venture forth to campfires, accept their hospitality, listen to their experiences. I know the inside of human prisons, as you do. I was captured, kept as an oddity of King Terenas and Lordaeron for a time. I was even in an encampment at one point. I know what it's like, to be that broken, that despairing. I almost became one of them.
Doomhammer had spent his entire monologue staring into the fire, but at this point, he turned to face Thrall.
But I didn't. I escaped, just as you did. Found it easy, just as you did. And yet it remains difficult for those huddled in the mud in those encampments. We can only do so much from the outside. If a pig loves her stall, the open door means nothing.
Thrall sort of understood what Doomhammer was trying to say.
Tearing down the walls alone will not ensure our people's freedom.
We need to remind them of the way of the shaman. Rid their contaminated spirits of the poison of demon-whispered words. You won the admiration of the Warsong clan and their leader, Thrall. Now you have the Frostwolves, ready and willing to follow you into battle. If there's any orc living who can teach our broken kin to remember who they are, it's you.
Thrall then thought about the encampment, how depressing it was, seeing all the orcs sitting in their own shit.
Though I despise the place, I'll willingly return. But you must know that my capture is something that Blackmore deeply desires. Twice, I've only narrowly escaped him. I had hoped to lead a charge against him, but
that would fail without troops. I know these things, Thrall. I may have been a lone wanderer for a while, but I'm not completely oblivious to what's been happening in the land. Don't worry, we'll lay false trails for Blackmore and his men to follow.
The commanders of the camps know to look for me.
They'll be looking for large, powerful, spirited, intelligent Thrall. Another defeated, broken, battered orc would go unnoticed. Can you hide that stubborn pride, my friend?
It'll be difficult, but I'll do it, if it'll help my people.
Spoken like the true son of Dorotan.
Doomhammer's voice sounded oddly thick, and Thrall hesitated for a moment, but he had to know.
Drakthar said that Dorotan and Draka left to seek you, to convince you of Gul'dan's evil. I was alone with the bodies of 2 orcs and a white wolf when Blackmore found me. Did my father find you?
He did. It's my greatest shame and sorrow that I didn't keep him closer. They came, told me of Gul'dan's treachery, and I believed them. I knew of a place where they'd be safe, or so I thought, but I later learned that several of my warriors were Gul'dan's spies. Durotan was my friend. I'd gladly have given my life for him and his family, yet I unwittingly caused their deaths. I can only hope to atone for that by doing everything I can for the child he left behind. You come from a proud and noble line, Thrall, despite the name you've chosen to keep. Let us honour that line. Together.
A few weeks later, Thrall and Doomhammer put their plan into action, because they don't mess around. Thrall lumbered into a village, roared at a bunch of farmers, and then let himself be captured. He was then taken, as expected, to an encampment, the whole time being careful not to give himself away, putting on his best impression of a broken crackhead orc. And, after keeping a low profile within the encampment for a bit, Thrall began the next stage of the plan. Approaching the other orcs, talking to them, singling out any that still seemed like they might have a bit of fight left. Thrall then informed those he'd singled out of their origins. He spoke of the powers of the shamans, of his own skills, and understandably, those orcs thought he was full of shit. He was going to need to prove his words. Now Thrall couldn't call down lightning, or cause the earth to shake. That would draw a bit too much attention. So, instead, he grabbed a clump of mud, held it aloft, and the few orcs around him gasped in awe, as grasses and even flowers sprouted forth from it.
Even that which appears dead and ugly has power and beauty.
The plan was coming together. The orcs all stared, with the faintest glimmer of hope in their eyes. All this rebellion needed now was a spark. Thrall waited a few more days, allowing Doomhammer enough time to play his part in all this. If everything was going smoothly, both clans and Doomhammer should now be somewhere nearby, outside the camp, waiting for a signal. And so, finally, in the early hours of one particular morning, Thrall decided the time was nigh. He knelt down in the soil and began his call to the spirits of water and fire, asking them politely and respectfully for aid in freeing his people. And sure enough, they answered. First came the rain, and then the lightning, jagged lines crashing down from the sky one after another, and that was followed by a cry that Thrall would recognise anywhere. Grom Hellscream. The cry startled the other orcs around Thrall, but he quickly reassured them.
Those are our allies. They've come to free us.
Guards then started to emerge from their tents, desperately scrambling to their posts in a panic. However...
Can you feel it stirring? Can you feel your spirits longing to fight? To be free? Come, my brothers and sisters.
Thrall then charged forward, desperately hoping the orcs behind him chose to follow, hoping that all of this would be enough to finally rouse their spirits. And sure enough, although the group of imprisoned orcs froze at first, one of them then startled himself with a loud yell and burst forward, and the rest moved soon after. A short while later...
Ha ha! Success! You're free, my brethren! You're free!
The liberated orcs sat around the fire and cheered, and Thrall couldn't help but get a little bit choked up about it. This was the greatest day of his life. Meanwhile again...
If you bear the news I think you do, then I'm inclined to separate your head from your shoulders.
The hapless messenger from one of the internment camps looked at Blackmore, with a face that suggested he wished he was anywhere else but here right now.
Let me guess. There's been another uprising. All the orcs have escaped, and no one knows where they are.
The young messenger just stood there, stammering, very much wanting his head to not be separated from his shoulders.
For goodness sake, boy, speak! There's more, sir. More. How much more can there possibly be? They identified the instigator, sir. It was Doomhammer, yes. I've heard the rumours. No, my lord. The leader of these rebellions. It's Thrall.
The blood then visibly drained from Blackmore's face.
You're a damned liar, boy. Or at least you'd better tell me you are. Nay, my lord. My master said he fought him. Remembered him from the gladiator battles. Well, then I'll have your master's tongue for telling such untruths. Be difficult, sir. He died an hour after.
Blackmore then sank back into his chair, trying to compose his thoughts. A quick drink would help, he thought, but then everyone would judge him. Drunken fool, they'd say. No, I'm Aedalus Blackmore, Lord of Durnhold, Master of the Encampments. I trained that green-skinned freak. I can outthink him. I just need one drink to steady my hands, that's all. An odd sensation of pride then hit Blackmore. He was right about Thrall's potential all along. He really was something special. Hell, if he hadn't spurned the chances Blackmore had given him, he could be leading the charge against the Alliance right now. Bloody fool. Perhaps that beating that Blackmore had given him, perhaps that had been a bit too much. Nah, chat shit, get hit. Blackmore wasn't going to feel guilty about educating a disobedient slave. Thrall was the bad guy here, throwing everything away just to ally with some stinky worthless thugs. Blackmore's attention then returned to the messenger. The Lieutenant General then grabbed a quill and some parchment with his shaky alcoholic hands and started to scribble, and then handed the finished missive to the trembling youngster.
Take this to your master, and have a care for that neck of yours, young sir.
The messenger bowed and cheesed it before this pissed up maniac could change his mind.
Thomas! Yes, sir. Go find Langston. I have a task for him to complete.